that's what I've always been when someone asked me how I was feeling. In fact, fine is how I've been for most of my life. And maybe some of you here today can resonate with that. But here's the thing. We can't all be fine all of the time. That just wouldn't be normal. Not unless, of course, fine stands for something different. Frustrated, insecure, needy, emotional. Well, that sounds more like it to me at least. My name's Katherine, and I'm here today to talk to you about my belief that vulnerability is our secret superpower. Now, how am I going to prove this to you? Well, for me, this is pretty easy because I'm just going to stand here and I'm going to be vulnerable and I'm going to tell you my story. And I hope that just by doing that, I'm going to create a connection with you. And that when we leave this room today, you might feel you're part of my community and I'm part of yours. Now, some of you may have heard about vulnerability before. There's an amazing talk by Brené Brown. It's been watched 60 million times and it's called The Power of Vulnerability. But I'm not here to talk to you about the theory of the psychology of vulnerability. I'm going to tell you my story. That's where we put practice into play. So, please come with me beneath the surface of my life. In 2022, I really felt like I was in control and I was at the top of my game. I'm a mum of 2 wonderful children in this ACE community. I'm a friend, I'm a sister, I'm a daughter. And I had a successful career as a lawyer. And then one day, actually the day this photo was taken at my sister's wedding, I put my hand on my left breast. And I found a lump the size of a golf ball, a lump so big I couldn't believe that I had never felt it before. Within a week, I'd been diagnosed with cancer. The 2nd of October 2022, it's my cancerversary. Not a versary we want. Within a few weeks, I had entered into treatment, and it's everything you see in the movies, or at least it was in my case, because I had to have chemotherapy. I lost my hair, I lost weight, I was tired, so tired that the sofa became my best friend. And I also gained 2 new acquaintances, anxiety and insecurity. Not really things you want in your life. During this period of my life, I was surrounded by the most amazing friends and the most wonderful family. And in principle, I wasn't alone because their love held me. You can see it in this picture. There's so much love with me in this moment. But despite that love, I felt incredibly alone. And that's because I still wasn't able to stop saying that I was fine. I wasn't able to tell people what was really going on with me. So, after 6 months of treatments, I was incredibly lucky and I was declared cancer-free. That's a gift. And I took that gift and I ran with it. We had amazing holidays. We just had the best time. I took on extra jobs at work and I did what every cancer patient wants, which is that I just wanted to go back to life like it was before. And then I went for my first scan. And at that first scan, they found 2 suspicious lesions back in the tumour site of the original tumour. Unfortunately, they couldn't biopsy me because there was too much scar tissue. And they said, well, you're just going to have to go home and come back in 6 months and we'll let you know if you've got cancer. It was so hard to walk out of that room not knowing whether I had cancer or not, and to live that way for 6 months. Well, that's when my acquaintances' anxiety and uncertainty became more like colleagues. They were with me every day, and the kind of colleagues you don't really want. And I started having panic attacks. Now, I don't know if anyone in this room has ever had a panic attack, but it's really scary. You feel completely out of control. Your mind and your body are just disconnected, and it's horrendous. I remember my first panic attack. I was at work, I was in a meeting, and I was being asked a question. I felt this heat rushing up through my body, and the words that I needed to say, they just wouldn't come out of my mouth. Faces were crowding in towards me, and I thought, my God, these people must be able to see the chaos inside me. But in actual fact, I think they just saw someone who was trying to be fine. The panic attacks got worse, and in the event, finally, I had to stop work because I just couldn't cope anymore. And that's when things got really tough, because here's the thing about cancer. You lose your hair, you don't look like you used to anymore. You're stripped of that energy that you had. And now I was stripped of my job. I didn't have my identity anymore. And when people looked at me, they didn't see Katherine with her long hair and her successful job. They saw Katherine, the cancer patient. And I felt so vulnerable in that vision. I could see my fragility in their eyes. I felt I was at rock bottom. I felt I didn't know who I was. But there's something that I know now that I didn't know then. To paraphrase Leonard Cohen in his amazing song Anthem, which you should go and listen to, please do. It's when the cracks start to show that the light comes in. And that's what happened for me. Because one day I decided to do something different. In fact, I didn't really decide, I just didn't have a choice. Things were so bad. I picked up the phone and I called my sister. And when I told her that I didn't feel good, she didn't tell me, oh, it's going to be okay, don't worry. She gave me a gift. She was vulnerable with me. And she told me her story. She told me that she had been suffering from anxiety for a long time, and that she knew what was going on with me because she had also had panic attacks. She opened a door through her vulnerability that allowed us to walk through and create connection and a community. She was brave, and she taught me a lesson. She taught me what I'm here to talk to you about today, which is that vulnerability is our secret superpower, and we can use it to do amazing things. I left that call and I started to think, I can't be the only person going through this journey. I can't be the only international cancer patient in the Netherlands feeling lost because I don't speak the language and I don't understand the medical system and I don't feel welcome in groups because, it's not my language and, that extra layer of aloneness. And so I started to reach out. I started to look for other people like me. And conversation by conversation, we began to create a community. And if you're looking for proof that this idea works, vulnerability equals connection, and that can create community, I'm going to prove it to you right now. This is us in January of this year. This is the Amsterdam hive of the community that we've founded. We're 120 cancer patients, international, many different backgrounds, coming together to share our stories and to feel support. And when someone joins the community, they do that by telling their story, because it opens them up. It creates vulnerability, it creates connection, and ultimately, here's the proof, it can create community. Now, you don't need a cancer diagnosis to go through this. I hope that today you can take something from my story, because I know for sure that we're all carrying something. Maybe there's problems at home. Maybe there's too much work at school. Maybe you're struggling with body image. I don't know what your thing is, but I know one thing for sure. We all have a thing and we hide it because maybe we think other people don't want to hear about it, or maybe we're ashamed. But if we're all open and honest and we tell our truth, we tell our story, I think we can begin to open those doors and make a better community for ourselves. So now that I've been vulnerable with you, now that I've told you my story, now that I've let you beneath my surface, I hope that you will feel a greater connection with me. My name's Katherine. I believe that vulnerability is our secret superpower, and I hope that you do too. Thank you.